final topic for this episode, I do want to discuss the news surrounding the release of Roadhouse. Now, the name Roadhouse might be familiar to some people. There's an actual remake of Roadhouse film available as soon as March 21, actually starring Jake Gyllenhaal, directed by Doug Liman. It's being premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival, although Doug Liman did say that he's going to be boycotting the premiere of his own movie. He's protesting Amazon MGM bypassing theaters for their Prime streaming release. So he's not happy about the movie not being released in theaters, but instead going direct to Amazon's Prime streaming platform. And I can understand it. I mean, there's a whole article I encourage you to read on deadline.com that he wrote his thoughts and feelings about Roadhouse really being one of his best films, his greatest work. Very proud of the movie. Loved working with the cast that includes Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, again, like some people might remember the previous Roadhouse movie previously that did star Patrick Swayze as well. So Gyllenhaal does play the same character in the movie as Swayze did back in the day. So it's a remake of that one. And really, it's intended to really be a smash hit. So I just got a few quotes here, just a few sentences that he said. Like, I won't be attending. The movie's fantastic, maybe my best. And I'm sure it will bring down the house and possibly have audience dancing in their seats during the end credits, but I won't be there. He's just silently protesting just by not being at the South by Southwest premiere. It's just him saying he doesn't like how the movie will be going to the Amazon Prime streaming platform. And what else? Knowing that when they bought commercial films like Bond and Creed, they would like put billions of dollars into them, and commitment to cinema by an internet company, but and the opposite seems to be promised when they took over MGM and so forth. So he really signed. He said that the facts: I signed up to make a theatrical motion picture for MGM. Amazon bought MGM, hence the problem here. Amazon said, make a great film and we will see what happens. I made a great film. So he made a great film, Roadhouse, and Lyman had intentions to release it in theaters, distributed by MGM. Amazon purchasing MGM complicated matters. You see the problem here? We made Roadhouse a smash hit. Amazon words, not mine. By the way, Roadhouse tested higher than my box office hit, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That is a classic, by the way. Tested higher than Bourne Identity, which is good. And I'm told the press response has been Amazon's best since they bought MGM. So it seems like a lot of really good things have been going on with Roadhouse. Has strong tie-in to the UFC, which is kind of surprising. It seems like possibly a cameo of some sort by Conor McGregor in the film. So that might be exciting to watch. Gyllenhaal versus McGregor, but Jake Gyllenhaal is willingly an action player. You know what I mean? He starred in plenty of action movies, so it's sort of his thing as well. And wow, there's a lot here. Also saying that Jake Gyllenhaal gives a career best performance, an opportunity that deserves to be recognized come awards season, and I can understand and agree on that. And look, there's something more eye-opening that he says, I think, of course, like, let me just mention a quote here. If we don't put tentpole movies in movie theaters, there won't be movie theaters in the future. And I get it. It just seems like, let me say one thing. I've noticed a few movies that I've sort of had some interest in, like, this Wonka prequel and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I might see the second Aquaman movie, but the fact that superhero movies in 2023 have been mostly abysmal has dismayed me from being kind of interested. You know what I mean? I just feel like some of the more interesting movies worth watching on streaming platforms has sort of taken away the excitement of the theater option. You have to pay either way, but I don't know. It's like it just seems like more studios are flocking to like the Netflix and the Amazon and the OSN Plus and the Hulu and Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus and so forth. It just seems like the content there, is broad, has a broader audience, is much better and so forth. But I don't want movie theaters to just not matter anymore. They still should matter, and I think ultimately they're still going to be important. It's just, there has to be more of a commitment from studios to release movies in public cinemas. That's all. There just has to be a continued commitment and not be swayed by the idea of having them directly gone to like streaming platforms, so that's just it. And I like that it's important that he said without movie theaters we won't have the commercial box office hits that are the locomotives that allow studios to take gambles on original movies and new directors. Without movie theaters we won't have movie stars, and that is accurate. I mean, I do agree that is accurate, and something that he said that was very important. So pay attention to this quote here. Film executives are also at risk. Box office revenues are the war chests that allow studios the resources to make movies, which is accurate. It's no surprise you see layoffs across the industry, including at Amazon. Without movies in theaters, there's no revenue coming in. And once the theaters go out of business, it could take decades for the business to recover, if ever. He knows what he's saying. He knows what he's talking about. If there isn't any box office money for distribution studios, where can they get the resources to keep pumping up more movies, whether if it's blockbuster IPs, original content, indie content, take on new directors, hire new actors, produce, and so forth, pay for crew members with the lighting and the sound engineering, DOPs, camera operators. I mean, a lot of jobs in movie motion picture studios can be at risk if this sort of business tactic does continue. And a lot of that does have to do with the COVID-19 pandemic that occurred. And he did say, referring to the COVID, he did say at the height of the pandemic, there was a real possibility that movie theaters would not recover. Also a fact, I mean, again, you got to read this article. We got comfortable watching movies at home, but then a remarkable thing happened when restrictions lifted. We started going back to the movie theater. Yes. The fact we still have movie theaters after the global pandemic didn't happen by accident. It happened because brave filmmakers like Chris Nolan and Tom Cruise insisted their movies play in the theater, and they proved audiences are still there. That is correct. I do give Christopher Nolan a lot of credit for being brave enough to distribute Tenet in cinemas. And say whatever you want about Tenet, but it is worth watching in theaters. And Tom Cruise really has reignited excitement with Top Gun Maverick and also Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. He is responsible for sort of rejuvenating the excitement of the movie theater life, if you know what I mean. Just bringing people into their seats. He brings excitement. And Nolan is a master filmmaker. I mean, which is how like Oppenheimer now has like 13 Oscar nominations. Again, the OG of directing. He's a favorite of mine, Nolan, but they proved that despite everything, we still enjoy gathering and sharing in the communal experience of watching a film together. People love going to the movies despite the convenience of streaming. Yes, convenient. They're not mutually exclusive. In fact, data shows that movies do better on streaming if they had been released theatrically first. I do agree with that. I'd prefer a movie that like is a huge hit, critical reviews, exciting, commercially successful, be in cinemas first, and then like after 4 or 5 months, whatever, like have it distributed like on Netflix, for example. That's fine for me, And Doug Lyman is not opposed to streaming. What he's saying is He did make one of the original movies for streaming during the pandemic. Even currently working on Instigators for Apple. He said he's opposed to Amazon gutting MGM and its theatrical business. That I get. Just changing the whole theatrical business with MGM, but purchasing them kind of gutted their business. You know what I mean? So yeah, uh, man, I don't want to pause the momentum here. I mean, he did say like he tried to do everything to convince uh, Amazon execs to put Roadhouse in theaters and all the arguments, presenting all the arguments, and even allowing them to have another studio release it in theaters, and they still said no. So he feels like a victim, which is crazy. I don't blame him. Um, he thinks that there isn't a villain in the story. It's more like an Amazon computer algorithm. And let's be honest, Amazon being $1 billion company, top 5 in the world, I can believe that. Yeah. But again, I know I'm repeating myself, but this Deadline article from Doug Lyman, worth the read. Just very insightful, just very important, just sharing his thoughts, his feelings of his movie that he really worked so hard on, working really well with a cast that includes Jake Gyllenhaal, remaking a classic like Roadhouse, previously starred Patrick Swayze, and now coming to Prime on March 21. I mean, he has valid points of how and why he would be agitated and upset about his movie that he put a lot of resources into would not be coming to theaters and not be distributed originally promised by MGM until Amazon bought them, and Amazon saying, no, you're not distributing this movie on any other cinema or distributed by any other film company or any other platform. It has to be accordance to the deal on Amazon, and we're doing this just because of this computer algorithm that, whatever, like it'd be better here, it'd be more popular. Think of it like just AI making the decisions for Amazon. So Amazon probably like trusting AI saying, no, this movie is better served on the Prime Video platform. So to hell with the whole theatrical business deal and whatever. And he's right about businesses being at risk, theaters being at risk if there isn't box office revenue, which meaning that there can't be more movies coming up. Like, if this sort of business practice continues, what does that mean? It means movies won't be distributed in theaters later on. So something has to change. Maybe first distribute them in theaters and public cinemas where everyone can go pay for tickets, sit, gather together, make memories together. And then after the theatrical release, the box office run concludes in after a certain amount of time, let's say 4 or 5 months, then have a post distribution deal, or there's a proper word for it, but home deal, whatever. I know what I'm trying to say, but distribute how you would sell it through Blu-ray, DVD discs. Of course, the whole physical media is a hot topic, but have some movies be distributed on 4K Blu-ray, DVD, and also maybe it'll go on have a deal made with Netflix or whomever for its streaming platforms. I think if there's a new business model of first in theaters and then streaming, then the business can still work well, and there wouldn't be this sort of this conflict of interest. There wouldn't be a conflict of interest with anyone to first on Amazon Prime and skipping theaters instead. If there can be a harmony there placed originally, if there are contracts placed, this can really work. This can be a better business model than ever before. So I just think directors like Doug Lyman need to be treated better, and there has to be better business deals in place for cinemas and streaming services to coexist in harmony.